everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is Evergreen Inks. I have recorded a bunch of videos in between the last one that you're getting from like May and now, which is December of 2025, and they all felt rushed. They all felt like incomplete, so I haven't posted any of them, and also I have a very bad posting schedule. Hopefully this video goes up. If you see it, great. If you don't, well, we'll never know about it. I'd like to do a flip through of my current planner. Right now it is very stuffed with 8 inserts. It's not normally this stuffed, and very soon it won't be this stuffed. But that's what my planner is looking like right now. So I will just show you all of it. Yeah, there are some 2026 things in here. I might skim over the 2026 things and do a 2026 specific flip through. Maybe next, like right into the new year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I might just do everything here. It really depends on how much time I have. And that's basically why I haven't recorded a lot of videos, is because I don't have enough time to sit down for a full length of time and give you a proper YouTube video. So, you can tell me in the comments if you'd prefer less frequent but longer videos, or if you would prefer more frequent 20-minute or less videos. And I will try to be better about recording. Another thing has been that I've been like kind of hopping around my house in terms of like desk space. So I don't really feel like I have a stationary home in my house right now. So that's kind of another reason why I'm not recording, is because I don't feel like I've got a recording space. So yes, this is a new backdrop. It's a different desk in a different part of my house. We're gonna see how it goes. I hope the lighting is okay. We have a very, very gloomy day here today, as December always is in where I live. Okay. With that being said, I'm in standard size right now, and kind of like my previous catch-up videos, I'm kind of gonna give you like a little bit of a how did we get here. So I hope you're drinking coffee or journaling while you're watching, because I'm gonna take a minute and talk about that. In May of 2025, which is the last couple of videos, I was in the A6TN, and that worked great until we had our first big road trip as a family in the summer, and I couldn't get my bullet journal to work how I wanted to plan traveling. Like, this was the first big outing we'd ever done as a group of 3, or as a family of 3, and I just could not get my bullet journal to organize the information in a way that I needed. And also, I was worried about the space that the A6TN would take up, because I hadn't really figured out my diaper bag situation either, or my stuff versus the baby's stuff, versus do I carry a bag for me and the diaper bag, or do I combine it all in one, like all of the logistics. So I switched down to pocket rings, and that worked great, and I was in and out of pocket rings probably for most of June, all of July, and then in mid-August, I think, I switched back to standard TN, and finished out that first bullet journal that I had been working on since March of 2025. And I finished that bullet journal out, and then I think I decided to jump to A6TN in September because I had this bullet journal, the one that I started in May, to finish. And the thing that I have been learning about this year, for those that are curious, is that finishing things out is really important to me. And also that there are memories in these two bullet journals, the standard TN one, which I don't have up here with me. Maybe I should have gotten it. And this A6TN one, like finishing them out is really important to me. And the memories and the photos that I have in here is really important to me. So I wanted to archive both of these notebooks with my planner stuff. Like I knew I wanted to keep both of these. And so I was determined to finish this one because I had finished the one before. And even though the information's not perfectly chronological, at least the notebooks are filled and they're being kept. And I think mid-September, I just like got really irritated with something with it. And I decided to jump back into standard, but to keep the A6 bullet journal. And so I've been working on this bullet journal since September, I believe. Let's see if I can. September, that's June. I had a page and a couple pages. Oh, maybe, no, that was August for a minute. Yeah, the 24th of September is when I jumped back into this one because I had finished the previous one. So I've been in this perfectly, like this bullet journal, not this size, since the 24th of September. Through all of this, if you're just a YouTube watcher and like not on my Instagram, I've also been, I'm going to say, amassing a collection of green Vanderspek planners. And that's kind of been playing a role in the discontentment that I had in the summer. So yes, I was in pocket rings technically, but I kept like my A6TN that you saw in the last video, the JL Avocado. I realized I'm not a JL Avocado or like Janet Leather fan at all. It's not baby friendly. It's not young family friendly. And for me, it's not Michaela friendly even. And also I didn't widen the spine. So it wasn't quite working the way that I needed it as a TN. It was just like a codex with added strings. So I had ordered a modified version of my A6TN in this color, which is Ireland, with an inside called Amandine. This is not that same color. And that came in July. And so I had some discontentment when that came in July because I wanted to use that, but I was in pocket rings. Eventually sorted that out and then saved up and ordered a pocket rings cover, like the perfect pocket rings cover, but in the same color scheme, Ireland and Amandine. Forgive me on the pronunciation for both of those. But by the time it came in, I was back in standard TN. So, and I was in my brown standard TN from years previous. I do have videos in that one. I got it in 2022. And then what happened? Then this color, this Nappa Blue Glass, became available, and I, like for an exclusive leather, and I just ordered this. And this came in November. The only difference between my brown TN cover and this one is that I extended the strap by 15 millimeters because I am a planner stuffer. And even when my planner is at its slimmest, the Acaju, the brown one, just doesn't close. So I am using that for a different purpose, and maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. And I've stuffed it so much that even this one doesn't close. But yeah, I guess that's like the long and the short of it is I have not been, up until I would say September, and even like every once in a while, like I have been not content with my planner system. I've always found something to complain about. And that's something that I'm working through, that I am allowed to be upset or not getting the dopamine that I want out of my planner, but that doesn't mean that I get to switch, be like impulsive, I guess. And that's kind of the mentality that I want to take into 2026. So yeah, here's the standard tan. I have actually been pretty comfortably back in standard tan since I switched back mid-August. Barring those few things. For those wondering, this is a Spek Special Nomad, which is something that you can order on their website. The only thing that I did change, as I said, is that this is a clasp that's been extended by 15 millimeters. This is the color Touch Me Ireland, spelled differently, like the non-American way. And it's not currently a leather that you can get. It's currently like a hide share leather. So if you can get 6 people that'll order it, Spek Petra will order it from their hide seller and make it. There's been a couple hide shares recently of it, so maybe they'll bring it back as a waiting list leather soon. I'm not currently sure. Don't hold me to that. On the inside, this is the blue glass Nappa leather. It's very gray blue. Like in certain lightings it's gray, and in some lightings it's blue. It's pulling a touch green just because of the brightness of the Ireland. So yeah, I don't know what they have currently available of that. I have one dashboard wrapped around all of my inserts. That's how I've been working for a long time. I am not going to take too terribly much time to give you every single shop that I buy things from. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is kind of to like take you through my planner system, hopefully in as an exhaustive way that I did with the A6TN or the A6 rings video that I did a couple of years ago. That's still like everybody's favorite video. So I hope I can do something similar with this if I have enough time. So if you're looking for something specific, I will try to put it in the description box, but go ahead and also leave a comment and I will try to answer. I am trying still to get away from the stuff being important and the actual method and process being more important. But I get it. We're like a stationary community, so if there's something that you're specifically looking for, go ahead and ask. I will say if like I made something though, so yeah. Okay, let's go through. This is the front Nomad style pockets. I just have some notes, like extra notes paper here. I have a thank you card here. This is a laminated note from my husband for my first Mother's Day. I have an in case of emergency card, my little washi strip thing here, and then I have like my prayer routines routine card there. I have some stamps, a gloomy from Meg Rhiannon, and another information card there. This is some scrapbook paper that I have. I apologize. I'm still getting over being really sick. I was really sick over Thanksgiving. These are some sticky notes that my friend gave me with some notes on some sourdough discard recipes. On the inside, I have another sticky note and more decorations, and this is my husband and myself. And more scrapbook paper. This insert is my first This is my 2025 monthly insert. It's got my monthlies and my habit tracker. So this is November. There are some things that I left in pencil at the time because I wasn't sure that they were or weren't going to happen. And I still need to go back and then and put them in pen. When I plan in my monthly section, I always put things in pencil. And then when I'm doing my monthly setup, I will transfer it all to pen. I just knew that there were a couple things that I wasn't sure that we were going to do or not. And instead of having a ton of things scratched off, I kept them in pencil. So a few of these things I do in fact have to erase, and a few of these things I need to transfer into pen. One of my projects for 2026 is proper archiving of 2025 because I did jump so many times this year. It was actually like a new record for me. In previous years, I would switch maybe like once or twice and be very consistent once I switched. I hopped back and forth 3 different systems or 3 different planners the whole year. And so I don't really have, like, I think I have November and October and September in here. I might have January and February and March in here, but I don't have the middle months in here. And so I just need to archive this year properly. And maybe I'll make a video on that project, but that's a project that I'm doing for 2026. So as I'm working on that, I will also be filling this out. I do a Sunday start monthly. That is how my brain has always worked. I think I'm not sure that that's what they gave us in my grade school. They gave us spiral bound planners, and I don't remember if they were Sunday or Monday start. But I've always been a Sunday start for monthlies, to the point where, like, if I do see a Monday start calendar, I get things wrong. Also, I have the habit tracker, daily habits, weekly habits, monthly habits, projects, and notes. I'm not very good about tracking these things. I think I use the weekly the most. I definitely don't. I'm being better about it in December, but up until December, I've been very bad about tracking on the daily basis. And I wanted to use this spot for gratitude. I guess the long and short of it is I don't really have a good daily habit and routine of working in my planner. And I think that's why I planner hopped a lot this year, is because my routines and systems have just not withstood the test of life switch. So I just need to be a little bit better about that. On the back is my 2026 year at a glance. This I did make. This was a freebie. I think at the front here is the 2025 one. In 2026, I made these. They were freebies on Patreon. They're still technically freebies on Patreon. And I am working on the 2026-2027 one. I do a Sunday start, I do a Monday start, and I do a lot of different sizes. I just have to get my butt in gear to do these. They are in green scale, like a very light, subtle green. So I am working on that. I promise. It's very monotonous and takes a lot of time. This next insert is my Christmas insert. It's a printable from, I guess I will say it, from PaperTessDesigns on Etsy. Her digitals are on Etsy. And her physical notebooks are on her website. Yeah, what else do I have to say about that? This is just, it's here because of Christmas planning, and I don't need all of the pages that's in here. It's quite exhaustive. I love it, but I was too tired to pick and choose the ones that I wanted. This is my 2026 monthly calendar. This is a different insert than what I've previously used in standard, and I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'm not gonna lie, but I had it. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is realistically use up the stuff that I have. So after 2026, so for 2027, if I'm still in standard, which is the goal, I will be going back to this because this is a printable from a shop that's now closed that you can't get anymore. I will be going back to this, but I'm going to use this one because it needed to be used. It was undated, so I could have chosen not to set it up, but I had already started and I was like, okay, let's give my brain a stretch and try this. So I am setting it up currently. It is not finished, but this is January. And there is room in the back for habit trackers. So I am doing like a modified version of this in the back of this. Next up is my weekly planner. I can't show you most of this because there are, it's the horizontal weekly. This is this week. And on this side, I generally do collaging of weekly photos, memory photos. So I can't show you the rest of this, but I have been generally consistent since I started in September of this insert. One of my 2026 archive goals is to go back and fill in all of this insert, which is July to December, and the previous one, which is January to June. And if I was in pocket rings, like I was in pocket rings, very content from January to about mid-March, I'm going to take my weeklies and any photos that I had taken and transcribe them into these inserts. Because while I do have my pocket rings, I just have decided that I don't like archiving rings. I know I just saw that Plotter came up with their archive binders, and I have been using the Franklin Covey Pocket, which is technically A6 size. I have been using that to archive my ring inserts for 2025. I just don't like it. It's difficult. It's not as easy as like slipping an insert into the Traveler's Company refill binder. I don't like it. I don't like flipping through them. I don't flip through them, and I frankly don't archive very well. I've got piles of ring inserts from the whole year. Like I've got January through March in the archive binder, and the rest of the year is just in piles, scattered about the various places that I plan in the house. Like it's terrible. And I've decided that I am too tired to properly archive rings. So I'm just not, it's one of the reasons I'm not in rings. So I would like to go back through and A, consolidate all of those like silly little piles, and B, just have all of my memories all in one place. So that is what I will be doing with this insert. One of the interesting things that I have been doing in this insert is here, and I need to catch up. So I'm not consistent with it. It's something that I'm practicing for 2026 because I did buy these inserts again for 2026. It's basically, one of my goals is to use up my stuff or use it 100 times. Which does not sound like very many times, but the goal behind it is, if I think I'm about buying something new, especially something big, I have to think about, hey, am I going to use it up in a year, or am I going to use it 100 times in a year, which is just under like a third of the year. So for example, one of the things that I'm tracking is, so this one right here is this planner, this green Special Nomad. I kind of decided to track this after I'd purchased this planner, but the idea in theory is if I hadn't already purchased it, look at this planner and go, okay, or look at myself wanting this planner and going, okay, can I realistically, because it's not something that can be used up, it's not consumable, can I use this 100 times in the new year? Can I use it 100 times in the first third of the new year? Like, will I use it every day? And the answer is yes for this planner, because I use my planner every day. And while it was a switch from, like, my brown one was perfectly functional. And I didn't necessarily buy this one just because it was green. I also bought it for the extended clasp. Like, there was a functional decision to purchase this, even though I'm kind of retroactively making the argument. Will I use it 100 times? And then once I'm like, yes, I'll use it 100 times, tracking that. This is when you start it, and then like the star is the day that you start using it, and then every day that you use it after that is a dot. And then I don't have necessarily a icon for when I've used it 100 times. Figured like 100 times is going to be in the new year anyway, so I haven't come up with that. But another thing that I wanted to track is, with an exclamation point, is the day that it becomes $1 a day. So you've used the planner so many times, which for this one, it'll be more than 100 days because this was more than $100. What day it becomes, hey, it's $1 a day to have it because you've used it so many times. Like, I think this was like 300 something. So it's 300 uses, it becomes $1 a day or whatever. And it's just to track bigger purchases and stuff like that. So one of the things that I purchased with the pocket rings that I have is I bought a tote bag from VDS, which they currently aren't offering. I think they're redesigning them, but I have a tote bag from Spek, and I started this around this day, I think around the 21st. So I have to like retroactively be like, okay, what days did I use the purse? And stuff like that. And it's just to be mindful. And I've intentionally left spaces so that in 2026, if I do decide to purchase something big, I can add it here. I don't want to fill up all of these boxes with different choices and then not have any room to breathe in 2026. Like I'm not necessarily going on a huge no spend, but I'm definitely wanting to do at least a slow, more mindful spend. So I'm giving myself room to be mindful if I'm making another big purchase. I will not be making as big of purchases that I did this year. I think I can kind of cool my jets now. My gosh. What else? If I get to a point where I've used something 100 times, or if it's a consumable, like I bought the Coffee Monsters Co. first half of the year sticker kits. As I'm recording this, she hasn't come out with part 2 of the year yet, but I probably will be purchasing those. I'll probably be putting those here, like, oh, I used it today, because it was a big purchase. Once I've either used all of that up, or for a different example, used it 100 times and I'm content with it, it will come off this list, and I can use the space that it had taken up the grid for something different. Not that, oh, you used something 100 times, you now get to buy something new. Like, that's not my intention behind it. But also, if I get to 8 things, like maybe there might be, I don't know. I do not want 8 big purchases in 2026. I really don't. That's too many. But still, I do want room just in case. So if I use up all of my first half of 2026 Coffee Monsters Co. stickers, I get to clear that off of this spread. And maybe the second half of the year, 2026 Coffee Monsters Co. stickers are in here. I don't know. The one thing about this is, so this is a half year notebook and it's got the full year tracker. So for this half of the notebook, I'm only using this side. And for the beginning of the year next year, I'm only using this side. That's fine to me. I don't mind. I'm not entirely sure what I'll be using the other side for. I don't know. Maybe just I'll put like an index here of like big memories that happened, like a sheet of paper or something. Not sure. The other thing that I'm doing here is I am doing the intermittently. I wanted to do it every day and then we got sick twice. So it's like a scrap a day and it's been fun. It's been fun to like look for scraps throughout my life. But it also has made me really mindful of just like how much trash we make. Even if we're trying to be really, really mindful, like food waste is like containers is just insane to me. But that's been fun. And I at least want to fill up the rest of this spread. So that's cool. This is my bullet journal. This is the A6 size, as I was saying, and it is really awkward to use A6 size in standard. I am very excited that I am pretty much done with this insert. I am starting my standard TN insert. Today's Saturday and my weeks start on Sunday, so I'm starting it tomorrow. Hold on. Okay. Yes, I'm very excited. I'm going to go back and I am going to tell you how I use this weekly insert first. This is going to change in 2026. So I probably will retroactively go and record a 2026 video. But for the rest of this year, this is what it's going to look like. I cut this horizontal in half. And on one side, I do all of my events. On the other side, I do like daily tasks that are not kind of, they're new or they're not in my memory. So I kind of need to keep track of them. For example, like feeding sourdough. That's something that's, that's something new that I'm doing this week is like I got into sourdough. And then tasks here and then evergreenings tasks are here. And then meals go here, dinners, lunches, and then my running grocery list is here. And this is how I've been doing this since September. And then on this side goes the photo collage and like journaling along with the photo collage. That's how I've been using this. I don't much mind that my weeklies are Monday start. I still consider this my like Sundays at the beginning of the week. So what I've been doing, and I just didn't have time this week, was saying, oh, the week starts here. And then any upcoming notes of like, oh, this week, my husband has some car maintenance. He also had a dentist cleaning. Like I would put those notes here. So any notes for next week per se would go here. And then I can just like think about, like it's on my monthly calendar, yes, but it's for a while, especially in the fall when we were so busy, it was just really nice to take the time to write out, yeah, be mindful, you've got this thing coming up in 2 Sundays, that kind of thing. So, and we need it less now that life is slowing down a little bit. We still have the holidays to get through, but after the holidays, that kind of thing. So that's how I've been using this. And one of the reasons that I wanted a dated pre-printed weekly was I like starting to think about the next week by Thursday. And in my bullet journal, where I would do a weekly overview, it worked great, except I use my bullet journal like a bullet journal. So guesstimating how many pages I'd need for the rest of the week and then like setting up the overview just didn't fit well with my process. Also, sometimes I use a page per day and sometimes I don't. So it wasn't exactly useful to like leave a page a day for Friday and Saturday. And then maybe like that would be a waste of pages. And also, I don't have quite as much time to set up spreads every week in my bullet journal like I would want to, like I could do previously. So this was just pre-dated, pre-set up. I only have to draw the lines, which is still a lot for me most weeks right now. And it helped my planner be a little bit more functional. So that's how I use this. I am bringing it into 2026, but I will be using it differently, I think. Haven't settled on that, but okay. This is my bullet journal. It is dot grid, 4mm grid. I am switching to graph for my next one because ever since switching to pocket rings for the first time in 2023, I've kind of been more of a graph than dot grid person. We're gonna see. I'm not convinced because my last standard tan insert was dot grid and it was 5mm. And I loved it. So this is both graph and a lot more lines per page. So we're gonna see how we get on with this. I bought a full year's worth of these, so I have to get through them before I can buy something new. So I have to put up with it, but we will see. We will see. This is just bullet journal style, working from the front. Again, I started it in May and have been working on it since September. I didn't pick out a page that I could show you. Let me see if I can find one. Let's see. There are some days that I just don't write anything. So for example, like these days, like I don't write anything. I do want to backfill it. I have had the intention of backfilling it. We were traveling those days. Let's see. Okay, we can do this. So this is the 3rd of December. Yeah, I'm just putting down the date sticker and I'm leaving room for the column. I am using green ink right now because that just makes me happy. And basically the column is left so that I have room to make notes. Sometimes I do make notes and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it feels like a waste of page space to do that, but at the same time, I'm not filling a full A6 page right now at all, almost ever, because I'm not decorating much either right now, and which is sad. I really like decorating and using washi and stuff in my planner. So yeah, that's basically it. What else? In the back, I do Ink Imperfections action categories system. And then after action categories, I have long-term or short-term lists and just lists in general, notes, whatever. And I work back to front that way. What else? This next one is just a notebook, and I just use it as a notebook. I collage in here. I write quotes in here, so like the common placing. I use it as a notebook for like long form things. So for example, if I want to handwrite out a blog post that I'm working on, it doesn't really fit in my daily pages because it takes me longer than a day to write a blog post. If it took me a day or less to write a blog post, I'd write it in my daily pages. But I want my daily pages to continue to flow and have a couple days to work on the blog post. So that's why I needed to separate these two. And also it felt weird to put it in the back with my lists. So if I have a longer writing project, I guess, that's not like technically journaling, I'll put it here. One of the things that I do, let me see if I can find a page here. This is one of my blog posts, is I only work on this side. These pages were already numbered. The next insert that I will use, I will number these pages, but basically I only work on this side so that I can take notes or add in things, because I always write something out and then feel like I need to write more, and then any notes that I want to take about this days or weeks or whatever later, I write it here. What else? Another thing is if I finish a topic, I will not start a new topic on the same page. So after this, there's some creative writing. I'm not putting my creative writing on the same page as my blog post. However, I will put the next blog post on the same page. Or if I'm creative writing, I will put the next chapter on the same page, that kind of thing. But if it's a new creative writing project, I will put that on a new page. And then sometimes I will start a different project on the page, so behind, but still need pages to continue. So I'm like flip-flopping between projects, between pages. And one of the ways that I keep track of that is I do the bullet journal method thing of threading. So this is the page where you can find the previous project. So over here is the previous page for this project, because I was working on a creative writing project and then I started my blog post. And then on the other side of this line is where you can find the next page. So you can see here, I said, after the page 15, you can find it on page 21. And so I think I have another something on this page that's not related to this. So the next page will be like page 25 or something. And that's how I'm using these pages. These are just the random inserts that I have that are too few pages to be bullet journal inserts. And I have quite a few random standard TN inserts, grid, dot, lined, blank, that I have collected over the years and have never had the intention of using as a bullet journal insert. Those will be what I'm using for this. And once I get through them, we'll go from there. But it's just another way for me to use up what I'm using. Next insert is a project insert that I've got going. We're thinking about starting a garden in the spring. There's not much to show in here at all because I'm waiting until after Christmas to really like deep dive into this, but it's just random insert paper that I have lying around. And this is just scrapbook paper wrapped around it. It's not even stapled or anything. And then this last insert is my reference insert. It's the exact same information in the last video that you just saw, just standard size. Yep. And then I have some of my like date stickers here and random cards, receipts here. I have our health trackers for me and the baby here. Basically like what immunizations we get and what day, when we're sick, stuff like that. Other health things that I know I'll want to reference in the future. In the big back pocket, I have some documents and stuff like that. My pen is here. That's basically it. What else? I can show you the beginning of my next bullet journal insert because I haven't started writing in it. I've just started setting it up. My word for 2026 is discipline. I feel like that very much encapsulates the kind of ideas that I've been talking about and the things that I've been learning in 2025. Finishing something that I start out, especially inserts. Like I used to be so good about finishing inserts, but I think the ability to be less permanent with rings inserts, like switching out whenever I feel like it without losing continuity, has really lent itself to being less content for me. So it's been really difficult to finish bullet journal inserts. And it used to be, I've always had trouble finishing inserts. Stalogies. I apologize. I was in B6 Stalogy before I was in any sort of TN. And those are just huge. And I had a really hard time finishing those near the end of, I finished like 2 or 3. And then by the 4th, I just had a really hard time finishing it. So I switched to TN, which has less paper. I was able to finish those a lot faster. I have a lot that I finished. And then switching into rings, I've kind of even lost the ability to finish bullet journal inserts. And I hate how, like, what's the word for ungrowing that I've been doing in that? Like, I feel like I've been backsliding, basically. So I just need to, I don't know. I'm really not content with the way that my mindset has gotten because of ring planning. Like I've learned a lot about myself through ring planning, but I've also picked up some really bad habits. So I need to unlearn those bad habits. And I think discipline is a good word for what I'm trying to do, both in my planner life and my like real life. So the long and the short of it. On that topic, I am creating ideal week and ideal day spreads. This more has to do with, so I'm doing sourdough, right? So what day does that work best? What day do I want to bake versus what do I want to pull it out? I do make yogurt as well, and that's a whole day thing. So what day am I going to do that? Hopefully not on the same day as sourdough, or maybe the same day as sourdough, that kind of thing. What things do we want to do once a week that don't have to be day specific? What are some things that we want to do once a month that aren't in my cleaning trackers? So I have my cleaning trackers that you saw, but what are some things that are not necessarily cleaning that we want to be in the habit of doing? And then this is my ideal day breakdown. I'm a stay-at-home mom now, and so without the forcefulness of someone else's rigid structure, I'm kind of like freeballing it, and I kind of hate it, not gonna lie. So I kind of want a visual representation of how I'd like to break down my day. And these will probably only last, like these ideal weeks and ideal days will probably only last this season. Because baby will be in a different developmental stage in even a month. And also we're going to be in a different season. Like we will maybe have a vegetable garden by the time that I'm finished with this planner. So the idea behind these is, If I like these spreads, I will then do something again. I will basically review and adjust these for my next bullet journal. That's the idea. And we'll see. Maybe these are useless and I don't end up looking at them, and that's fine. But I'm kind of happy that my inserts, I'm not starting this insert at the beginning of 2026, but I'm kind of starting it at the beginning of winter, even though we've had snow on the ground for like weeks. First day of winter is like 2 weeks from now. So it feels good to have like a seasonal insert, I guess. Right after that is I'm going to review my previous bullet journal, catch any tasks that I have outlying, and either do them or write them here so that I can capture them and not forget about them. And then I will rewrite my November reflections and December provenance here because I am switching mid-month. And then I'm just gonna start into the new week right here. In the back, I do have my action categories. So the action categories that I have are someday maybe, waiting on, our running prayer list, my social media, stuff to do with the office or at my computer because I'm not pulling my computer out every day. Things to add to a new planner. I am working on separating some stuff out from my planner because it's big right now. Home list. I have the baby's list. I have my husband's list. I have a work list. I have the project archive that I was talking about that I'll make a new video for. I have my next action list. And then I have a blank spot here because technically this is the beginning. And I put things to put in the next bullet journal here, like things to do. I do have a list for the 2026 setup because I'm not done setting up 2026. I do have things I want to commonplace. So things I can't right now sit down and write out what I want to when I want to. So here is theoretically a good list for like, hey, you wanted to write out that quote or part of that article and just have it here so that when I have time. And then things that I'm writing, like my creative writing. These probably should have gone back here, but I thought of them after I'd already finished this. So they will slot in among my regular action categories in the next bullet journal insert. I'm not stressed about them not being exactly in their place. And yeah, this is again 160 pages. I've already decorated it, and that's my planner. When I'm ready to show you 2026, I will record it. Too long didn't read. It's gonna be my standard TN. I did have a fling with Hobonichi Weeks for just a second. And I was gonna put it in my standard TN, but do my monthlies, weeklies, habit tracker, and common placing all in the mega, and then have my other insert, like my bullet journal and my reference insert, regular inserts, but I didn't like it. I got on the hype train and I realized that I wasn't, and I set it up for December and everything, and I just decided that I didn't like it. So maybe I'll talk about that more too when I talk about 2026. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was exhaustive. I hope I did a good job. I am out of YouTube practice. It's been a while since I've recorded. Like I recorded, the last YouTube video I recorded was September, but I recorded a lot in the summer and it's been a minute. Yeah, so let me know if you liked it and let me know what else you'd like to see. And I will talk to you all into the next one. Thanks. Bye.